Before you decide I'm a terrible person, please just listen to what actually happened. Yes, I made a joke about my husband's brother at our wedding reception. Yes, I said I would have said yes even faster if his brother had proposed instead. Yes, I said it in front of people. But it was a joke. A stupid, thoughtless, poorly timed joke made by a nervous bride who'd had too much champagne and was trying to be funny. I never meant it. I never actually wanted his brother. I married the man I loved, the man I'd been dating for 3 years, the man I'd spent months planning a wedding with. But none of that mattered, because 5 hours after I made that joke, my husband took off his wedding ring and told me his answer had changed. 5 hours after saying I do, my marriage was over. I'm sitting in my childhood bedroom right now, the one I moved out of 6 years ago when I got my first apartment, wearing sweatpants and one of my old college t-shirts, staring at my wedding dress hanging on the back of the door. It's still perfect, still beautiful, still has the price tag from the alterations pinned inside. I wore it for exactly 7 hours. 7 hours of being a wife before I became whatever I am now. My phone won't stop buzzing. Text messages from bridesmaids asking what happened. Calls from my mother that I can't bring myself to answer. Notifications from our wedding hashtag that I can't bear to look at because I know what the photos will show. The exact moment everything fell apart. Everyone wants to know my side of the story. Everyone wants to understand how a wedding could end before the honeymoon even started. So here it is, the whole truth, my version of the worst night of my life. Let me start by telling you about my husband, my ex-husband. I don't even know what to call him anymore. His name is James. We met 4 years ago at a mutual friend's birthday party. He was 29, working in corporate law, successful and stable, and exactly the kind of man my parents had always hoped I'd bring home. I was 26, working in marketing, still figuring out what I wanted from life. Our first date was at an Italian restaurant in the city. He was charming, attentive, asked good questions, made me laugh. By the end of dinner, I knew I wanted to see him again. We fell into a relationship easily, comfortable from the start. He integrated into my friend group. I met his family. We talked about future plans without it feeling scary. After 2 years, we moved in together. After 3, he proposed. The proposal was perfect. A weekend trip to the beach, a sunset walk, a ring he'd been planning for months. I said yes immediately, crying happy tears, calling my parents before we'd even left the beach. Everyone said we were perfect together. His family loved me. My family adored him. Our friends constantly commented on our photos, saying we were couple goals. And I believed it. I believed we were perfect. But there was always something I didn't talk about, something I pushed down and ignored and pretended didn't exist. His brother, Michael. Michael is 2 years older than James, works in finance, has always been the more outgoing one. Where James is steady and reliable, Michael is charismatic and spontaneous. Where James plans every detail, Michael goes with the flow. Where James is quietly confident, Michael commands a room. I'd be lying if I said I'd never noticed. The first time I met Michael was at a family barbecue 6 months into dating James. He was funny, charming, paid attention when I talked, remembered details I'd mentioned. He made me laugh harder than I'd laughed in weeks. And I remember thinking, just for a second, just a fleeting thought I immediately pushed away, if I'd met him first. But I didn't meet him first. I met James. I fell in love with James. I built a relationship with James. The Michael thing was just an attraction I never acted on. A what if I never explored. A thought I had sometimes but never took seriously. Except it wasn't as buried as I thought it was. Over the years, little moments accumulated. Times when Michael would hug me hello and I'd hold on just slightly too long. Times when he'd tell a story and I'd laugh just a little too enthusiastically. Times when James would be talking, and I'd notice myself comparing them, noticing the differences, wondering about alternate timelines. I never cheated, never even came close, never had an inappropriate conversation with Michael or crossed any lines. But I did think about him more than I should have. I did feel a flutter in my stomach when he walked into family gatherings. I did find myself wondering sometimes what it would be like to date the brother instead of the one I was with. And apparently, I wasn't as subtle about it as I thought. The wedding was beautiful. Seriously, it was everything I'd dreamed of. A venue with gardens and string lights, 200 guests, a band I'd been wanting to book for months, flowers everywhere, perfect weather. My dress fit like a dream. James looked incredible in his tux. The ceremony was sweet and romantic, and I cried when we said our vows. I meant those vows. Every single word. When the officiant said, "I now pronounce you husband and wife," I felt like the luckiest woman alive. The reception started perfectly, too. Great food, everyone dancing, speeches from my maid of honor, and James's best man that were funny and touching and made everyone cry-laugh in that perfect wedding way. I'd had champagne during the ceremony, more champagne during cocktail hour, wine with dinner. I wasn't drunk, not even close, but I was tipsy. That warm, loose, happy kind of tipsy, where everything seems funnier and you feel more confident than usual. That's my only excuse for what happened next. I was sitting at the head table with my bridesmaids during a break in dancing. James was across the room talking to some college friends. The bridesmaids were teasing me, that playful, affectionate teasing that happens at weddings. "You said yes so fast," my maid of honor, Rachel, was saying. "The second he pulled out that ring, you were crying and nodding. I don't think you even let him finish asking." Everyone laughed, including me. "Of course I said yes fast," I said. "I'd been waiting for him to ask for months. I was ready." "We could tell," another bridesmaid chimed in. "Fastest yes in proposal history." And then, God, I don't know what possessed me. I said it. I would have said yes even faster if Michael had asked. The words just came out. I thought I was being funny, making a joke about how eager I was to get married, how I would have said yes to anyone in that moment because I was so ready for that stage of life. But that's not how it sounded. The table went completely silent. My bridesmaid stared at me. Rachel's smile froze on her face. "What?" someone said. I laughed, trying to play it off. "I'm kidding. Obviously I'm kidding. I just mean I was so ready to get married that I—" But no one was laughing. And then I noticed Michael. He was standing about 10 feet away. He'd clearly been walking past our table, probably heading to the bar, and had stopped when he heard his name. His face was shocked, uncomfortable, frozen, and next to him, because of course this is how it would happen, was James, my husband of approximately 4 hours. The look on his face made my blood run cold. His smile disappeared instantly, not gradually fading, just gone, like someone had flipped a switch. His eyes went from warm to cold in a heartbeat, his jaw clenched. "James," I started, standing up too fast and nearly knocking over my champagne glass. But he'd already turned and walked away. Michael stood there for another second, looking between me and his brothers retreating back, then quickly followed James without a word. The bridesmaids were staring at me with expressions ranging from shock to pity to second-hand embarrassment. "That was a joke," I said, my voice shaking. "That came out wrong. I didn't mean—" "You should go talk to him," Rachel said quietly. I tried. I followed James across the reception hall, but he'd disappeared. I checked the hallway, the bathroom area, outside, nowhere. When I came back inside, I saw him on the other side of the room, talking to his parents. All three of them looked at me, and his mother's expression was ice cold. My stomach dropped. The rest of the reception was a nightmare. James didn't come near me. Not to dance, not to cut the cake, not for any of the traditional wedding moments we'd planned. He stayed on the opposite side of the venue, talking to guests, acting like I didn't exist. When people tried to take photos of us together, he'd pose with a smile that didn't reach his eyes, then immediately walk away after the camera clicked. During our scheduled first dance, he took my hand with all the warmth of a business handshake, held me at arm's length, and didn't say a single word for the entire song. His eyes looked past me, never meeting mine. His jaw stayed clenched. His body was rigid. I tried to apologize, whispering urgently. It was a joke, a stupid joke. I didn't mean anything by it. Please, James, please talk to me. We'll talk later, he said quietly, coldly. Then the song ended and he walked away. Guests started noticing. How could they not? The groom was avoiding his bride. The couple wasn't smiling at each other. Something was clearly wrong. I saw people whispering, saw James's sister pulling him aside for a heated conversation, saw my own mother looking worried and confused. I kept drinking champagne because I didn't know what else to do with my hands, with my anxiety, with the growing horror of what I'd set in motion. Michael left early, didn't say goodbye, just quietly disappeared before the cake cutting. Smart man. By the time we were supposed to leave for the hotel, the beautiful suite we'd booked for our wedding night, I felt sick. Not from the alcohol, from dread. James didn't speak to me in the car, didn't hold my hand, sat as far away as possible in the back seat while our driver took us to the hotel in crushing silence. When we got to the suite, the one I'd been excited about for months, with the rose petals and champagne and romantic lighting, James walked in, loosened his tie, and sat on the edge of the bed with his back to me. I stood by the door in my wedding dress, my feet aching from dancing in heels all night, my makeup probably smudged from the tears I'd been fighting back. James, please, let me explain. Explain what? His voice was flat, emotionless. It was a joke, a stupid, thoughtless joke. I was nervous and tipsy and trying to be funny with the bridesmaids. It came out completely wrong. I didn't mean... You said you would have said yes faster to my brother. He still wasn't looking at me. Those were your exact words. At our wedding reception, in front of our friends, in front of him. I know how it sounded. How it sounded. He finally turned to look at me, and I flinched at the pain in his eyes. It sounded like you wish you'd married my brother instead of me. It sounded like I'm your second choice. It sounded like you settled. That's not true. I love you. I married you. I said yes to you. But you would have said yes faster to him. His voice cracked slightly on the last word. No, that's not what I meant. I was making a joke about how eager I was to get married, how I was so ready for this stage of life that I would have said yes to anyone. I stopped, realized what I'd just said. How that sounded even worse. James laughed bitterly. To anyone. That's so much better. That's not... I'm saying this wrong. I'm trying to explain that it was just a stupid comment, not a reflection of how I actually feel. Do you have feelings for my brother? The question hung in the air. I should have said no immediately, emphatically, without hesitation. But I hesitated, just for a second, just a tiny pause while I decided whether to lie or tell the partial truth. And that hesitation told him everything. Oh my God, he said quietly. You do. No, I don't. I mean, I think he's attractive. Obviously he's attractive. But I don't have feelings for him. I've never acted on anything. I've never been inappropriate with him. I love you. I chose you. You think he's attractive. James's voice was dead now, completely flat. Of course I think he's attractive. He's objectively good-looking. That doesn't mean... Did you think about him? James interrupted. During our relationship? During our engagement? During our wedding planning? Did you think about what it would be like to be with him instead of me? I couldn't lie. Not on our wedding night. Not when everything was already falling apart. Sometimes, I whispered, but just passing thoughts. Nothing serious. Nothing I ever wanted to pursue. Just intrusive thoughts that I pushed away. Intrusive thoughts, he stood up, about my brother, throughout our entire relationship. It didn't mean anything. It means everything. He raised his voice for the first time. It means I've been competing with my own brother for your attention. It means you've been comparing us this whole time. It means when you look at me, you're wishing I was him. That's not true, isn't it? Be honest. For once in this conversation, be completely honest. Have you ever wished I was more like him? More outgoing, more spontaneous, more charismatic? I couldn't answer. Because yes, I had wished that. Not constantly, not seriously, but yes. My silence was answer enough. James walked to the hotel phone. "What are you doing?" I asked, panic rising. "Calling my brother." "What? No, James, don't—" But he was already dialing. It was past midnight, but apparently that didn't matter. I listened in horror as the phone rang. As someone picked up. As James said, calmly and coldly, "Michael, I need you to come to the hotel. Room 412. No, I'm serious. Yes, now. Just come." He hung up. "James, please don't do this. Whatever you're planning—" "I'm not planning anything. I just want to hear the truth, from both of you." "There's no truth to hear. Nothing happened between us." "But something could have," James said. "Something would have, if circumstances were different. If he'd asked you out first, if you'd met him before me, if he'd proposed. That's what you said, right? You would have said yes faster." I was joking. "No." He looked at me with such sadness that my heart broke. "You weren't." We sat in horrible silence for 15 minutes. Me still in my wedding dress, mascara definitely running now. Him in his tux with the tie completely undone, sitting as far from me as possible. Then there was a knock on the door. Michael. James let him in. Michael looked between us, me crying in my wedding dress, James radiating cold anger, and immediately said, "What's going on?" "Close the door," James said. Michael did, looking extremely uncomfortable. "James, man, if this is about what she said at the reception, I'm sure she didn't mean—" "Has she ever made comments like that before?" James interrupted. "What?" "About you, about us, comparing us. Has she ever said or done anything that made you think she was interested in you?" Michael's face went through several emotions. Man, this is your wedding night. You shouldn't—" "Answer the question." Michael looked at me. I shook my head desperately, silently begging him to lie, to protect me, to say nothing had ever been weird between us. But Michael was honest. Too honest. "There have been moments," he said carefully. "Times when I thought maybe, but I never acted on anything. I never encouraged anything. I made sure to keep appropriate distance." "What moments?" James demanded. "James, don't make me do this." "What? Moments?" Michael sighed, ran a hand through his hair, looked at me apologetically. "She laughs at my jokes a lot, stands close sometimes, holds hugs a little longer than necessary, makes eye contact that feels like, I don't know, more than friendly. Nothing overt, nothing I could point to and say definitively means something. But yeah, I've noticed, I've wondered. I felt like I was dying, like the floor was opening up and swallowing me." "And you never mentioned this to me," James said. Not a question, a statement. What was I supposed to say? "Hey bro, I think your girlfriend might like me. I figured I was reading into things. I figured even if I wasn't, she'd chosen you and that's what mattered. I wasn't going to create problems in your relationship over some possible, maybe attraction that she clearly wasn't acting on." James turned to me. "So it's true. This isn't in my head. I'm not being paranoid or insecure. You actually have feelings for my brother." "I don't," I sobbed. "I don't have feelings. Maybe there's an attraction. Maybe I've noticed he's good looking. But that's not the same as feelings. I love you. I married you. Today. Hours ago. I committed my life to you. You committed your life to me while wishing I was someone else. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair," he was yelling now. "Nothing about finding out on my wedding night that my wife has spent our entire relationship fantasizing about my brother is fair." I wasn't fantasizing. There were just moments where I noticed, where I thought about what if. I was crying so hard I could barely speak. What if, James repeated. What if you'd met him first? What if he'd asked you out? What if he'd proposed? He walked to the nightstand, picked up his wedding ring, the one I'd placed on his finger just hours ago while promising to love him forever. He held it for a moment, looking at it, then set it on the nightstand. No, I gasped. No, James, please. I said yes today, he said quietly. At the altar, in front of everyone we know, I said yes to you. I promised to love you and honor you and be faithful to you for the rest of my life. And I meant it. I was all in, completely committed. He looked at me with devastated eyes. But after tonight, after knowing you've been comparing me to my brother, our entire relationship, after hearing you tell people you would have married him faster, after seeing you can't even deny that you've thought about being with him. He picked up the ring again. My answer is no. The words hit me like a physical blow. What? No, you can't. We're married. We just got married. You can't just change your mind. You changed my mind. You, with that joke that wasn't really a joke. You, with your admission that you think about him. You, with your inability to deny that you've wished I was someone else. I fell to my knees. Actually fell to my knees in my wedding dress, on the hotel room floor, sobbing. Please, please don't do this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll never mention him again. I'll avoid him at family gatherings. I'll do anything. Please don't end this over a stupid comment. It's not about the comment, James said, and his voice was hollow now, empty. It's about what the comment revealed. You can't unring this bell. I can't unhear what you said. I can't unknow that when you look at me, part of you is wishing I was him. That's not true, isn't it? He looked at Michael. You can go. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. Michael looked at me, then at his brother. James, maybe you should sleep on this. It's been a long day, emotions are high. I've never been more clear-headed in my life, James said. Please go. Michael hesitated, then nodded. I'm sorry, he said to both of us, then left. The door closed. James and I were alone. We can work through this, I begged. We can go to counseling. We can talk about this. Please don't give up on us after one bad night. One bad night? James laughed bitterly. This isn't one bad night. This is the culmination of years of you being emotionally invested in my brother while pretending to be fully invested in me. I was fully invested in you. I am fully invested in you. Then why did you say it? He looked at me. Why did those words come out of your mouth? If they weren't true, if they weren't somewhere in your subconscious, why would you say them at all? I didn't have an answer, because he was right. Words don't just appear out of nowhere. They come from thoughts, from feelings, from truth we're not ready to acknowledge. I'm going to sleep in Michael's room tonight, James said. You can stay here. Tomorrow morning, we'll figure out what to do about the honeymoon, the marriage license, all of it. James, I'm done talking tonight. I can't look at you right now. He grabbed a change of clothes from his suitcase and walked to the door. You wanted a different groom, he said without turning around, so you don't get this one. Then he left, and I was alone on my wedding night, still in my wedding dress, sitting on the floor of a hotel suite surrounded by rose petals and champagne I'd never drink, with my marriage over before it even began. I don't know how long I sat there. An hour? 2? Time felt meaningless. Eventually I managed to get out of the dress, had to call the front desk to help me with the buttons I couldn't reach myself. The poor hotel staff member who came to assist me tried not to react to my tear-stained face and obvious breakdown. I put on sweats, washed my face, stared at myself in the bathroom mirror, and didn't recognize the person staring back. I tried calling James. It went to voicemail. I tried texting. No response. I called Rachel, got her voicemail too. Of course, it was 3 a.m. and she was probably passed out from the reception. I sat on the bed and stared at James's wedding ring on the nightstand. We'd picked out the rings together, spent hours at different jewelers finding the perfect ones. He'd been so excited about wearing it, said it would be a symbol of our commitment to each other. And now it was sitting on a nightstand in a hotel room while he slept in his brother's room because he couldn't stand to be near me. Around 5 a.m., I finally fell asleep. I woke up at 9 a.m. to my phone exploding with messages. But they weren't from James. They were from everyone else. Apparently, the news had spread, fast. James had told his parents, who told his sister, who told her husband, who apparently posted something vague on social media that enough people understood. By morning, everyone knew that something had gone horribly wrong on our wedding night. My phone was full of messages. From my mother. Call me immediately. What is going on? From Rachel. OMG, people are saying you and James aren't together anymore. What happened after we left? From James's sister, Emma. I hope you're happy. You destroyed my brother on what was supposed to be the happiest day of his life. From various guests. Is it true? Are you okay? What happened? And one from James. I'm checking out. Take whatever time you need. I'll be in touch through my lawyer. His lawyer. He was already talking to lawyers. Less than 12 hours after our wedding. I tried calling him, straight to voicemail. I got dressed, regular clothes, jeans and a t-shirt, my wedding dress still in a pile on the floor, and went downstairs. The honeymoon suite checkout wasn't until 11, but I couldn't stay there another second. I went to the lobby to see if I could find James. Instead, I found his family. His mother, father, Emma, and a few others I recognized from the wedding. They were sitting in the lobby seating area, clearly waiting for something. Or someone. His mother saw me first. Her expression went from neutral to hostile in a heartbeat. You have a lot of nerve showing your face, she said. Everyone turned to stare at me. I just wanted to talk to James, I started. He doesn't want to talk to you, Emma interrupted. He doesn't want to see you. He asked us to be here to make sure you left without causing a scene. The humiliation was crushing. I'm not going to cause a scene. I just need to explain. Explain what? Emma stood up. How you spent your wedding reception talking about how you wish you'd married his brother. How you've apparently been inappropriate with Michael for years. How you destroyed my brother on what was supposed to be the best day of his life. People in the lobby were staring now. Other hotel guests, staff members, everyone was watching this unfold. It wasn't like that, I said weakly. Then what was it like? James's mother asked coldly. Because from where we're standing, it looks like you married my son while wishing he was someone else. And then you announced it publicly at your own wedding. I had no defense, no explanation that would make this better. If you love James, his father said quietly. He'd been silent until now. You never would have said what you said. You never would have hurt him like that. He was right. I need to talk to him, I tried again. Please, just tell me where he is. He's gone, Emma said. He left an hour ago. He's staying with friends. He doesn't want you to know where. But we're married. Are you? Emma asked pointedly. Because he took off his ring. He's calling lawyers. He's talking about annulment. So I don't think you're married in any meaningful sense. An annulment. He wanted to pretend the marriage never happened. I felt like I was going to be sick. Get your things and go home, his mother said. And don't contact my son. Don't come to our house. Don't show up at his work. If he wants to talk to you, he'll reach out through his lawyer. Please. I started crying again. Please, just let me talk to him. I can fix this. I can explain. There's nothing to explain, his father said. And nothing to fix. You've made your feelings perfectly clear. Now live with the consequences. They stood up and walked away, left me standing in the hotel lobby in yesterday's makeup and today's shame, crying in front of strangers. I went back upstairs, grabbed my suitcase, still packed for the honeymoon we'd never take, grabbed my wedding dress, shoving it roughly into the garment bag, grabbed all the things I'd so carefully packed just 2 days ago when I was excited and happy and getting ready to marry the love of my life. I checked out, walked through the lobby with my head down, past James's family who were still there, probably making sure I actually left. Got in my car, still decorated with "just married" signs and tin cans that rattled when I drove. Another humiliation. And drove to my parents' house because I had nowhere else to go. Our apartment, James's and mine, suddenly didn't feel like mine anymore. It's been 3 days. 3 days since my wedding. Since I destroyed my marriage with one stupid joke. I'm still at my parents' house, still sleeping in my childhood bedroom under the same butterfly comforter I had in high school. Still wearing the same sweatpants, because I can't bring myself to care about anything. My mother has been hovering, bringing me food I don't eat, asking questions I can't answer, looking at me with this mixture of pity and disappointment that makes me want to disappear. "Just tell me what happened," she keeps saying. "Help me understand how your marriage ended on your wedding night." But I can't tell her. I can't admit that I destroyed everything because I couldn't keep thoughts about my brother-in-law to myself. That I ruined the most important day of my life, and hers. She'd been planning this wedding with me for months. Because I made a joke that revealed truths I should have kept buried. So I just keep saying, "We weren't right for each other," and "it's complicated," and other vague non-answers that satisfy no one. My father is angrier. He paid for half the wedding, wrote a big check for a celebration that ended in disaster. He hasn't said much, but I can see it in his face. The disappointment, the frustration, the sense that I've wasted time and money and his hopes for my future. James's lawyer contacted me yesterday, sent formal papers via email, so impersonal, so cold, requesting an annulment based on fraud. The legal language claims I'd entered the marriage under false pretenses, that I'd hidden my feelings for his brother, that the marriage was based on deception. Reading those words, fraud, deception, false pretenses, made me feel like a criminal, like I'd deliberately conned James into marrying me, when really I'd just been stupid and careless and unable to fully let go of a fantasy. I'm supposed to sign them, accept the annulment, let the marriage be erased like it never happened. Part of me wants to fight it, refuse to sign, force James to talk to me, to work through this, to give me a chance to prove that I do love him, that I did choose him, that the Michael thing was just a stupid attraction I never would have acted on. But the bigger part of me knows it's over. You can't come back from this. You can't unhear what I said. You can't unknow what I revealed. And more importantly, this is the part that keeps me up at night. James is right. He deserves better than someone who looks at him and sees his brother, who compares them constantly, who entered marriage with unresolved feelings for someone else. He deserves someone who is all in, someone who never questions their choice, someone who doesn't have a what-if scenario playing in the background of their mind. I wasn't that person. I tried to be. I wanted to be. But I wasn't, and he saw it, immediately. The moment I made that joke, he saw me, saw through me, saw the truth I'd been hiding from myself. My friends have been supportive but confused. They keep texting, calling, showing up at my parents' house with wine and sympathy. Rachel came over yesterday with ice cream and demanded to know what happened. "You guys were fine at the reception," she said. "You were happy, and then suddenly you weren't, and now you're getting divorced. I mean, annulled, and I don't understand what could have possibly gone so wrong in a few hours." I told her. The whole story. The joke. The confrontation. Michael being called to the hotel room. James taking off his ring. She stared at me in shocked silence for a long moment. "You said what at your wedding?" she finally asked. I know how it sounds." "No, I don't think you do," Rachel said carefully. "Because it sounds like you stood up at your own wedding reception and announced you wish you'd married your husband's brother instead." "That's not what I meant. But that's what you said. And apparently, based on everything else you just told me, that's actually how you feel. Or have felt, or whatever." I couldn't argue because she was right. "Did you ever tell me you had feelings for Michael?" she asked. I thought back through our friendship, through all our conversations about James, about the wedding planning, about my relationship. No, I admitted. Why not? Because it wasn't a big deal, it was just an attraction, a passing thought, nothing I was ever going to act on. But it was enough that you thought about it regularly, enough that Michael himself noticed, enough that you made a joke about it at your wedding. She shook her head. I'm your best friend. You tell me everything. But you didn't tell me about this, which means some part of you knew it was a big deal. You knew it was wrong. You knew it threatened your relationship with James. I hadn't thought about it that way. But she was right. If it had been truly meaningless, I would have laughed about it with Rachel. I would have said, James's brother is so hot, isn't that weird? And we would have giggled, and that would have been that. But I'd kept it secret, hidden it, because deep down, I knew it mattered. I messed up, I said quietly. Yeah, Rachel agreed. You really did. She stayed for another hour, but things felt different between us, like she was seeing me differently now, like I'd revealed something about myself that changed how she viewed me. I don't blame her. I'm seeing myself differently too. I destroyed my marriage because I made a joke about my husband's brother at my own wedding reception. Except it wasn't really a joke, was it? That's what I keep coming back to. That's what James understood immediately and what I'm only now accepting. It wasn't a joke. It was truth disguised as humor. It was my subconscious revealing what I'd been trying to hide, that I had feelings for Michael, that I'd thought about him romantically, that some part of me wished things had been different. I did compare them. Throughout our whole relationship, I compared James to Michael, and James always came up slightly short in my mind. Not because James wasn't wonderful. He was. He is. He was kind and stable and committed and everything I should have wanted. But Michael was exciting, charismatic, the what if that I couldn't quite let go of. And on my wedding night, after years of keeping those thoughts buried, they came out, in the worst possible way, at the worst possible time, in front of the worst possible people. I keep replaying that moment, wishing I could take it back, wishing I'd just kept my mouth shut, wishing I'd been drunk enough to blame the alcohol or sober enough to filter my thoughts. But I was right in that dangerous middle ground where inhibition's lower, but you're still aware enough to be held accountable. I said what I said, and I meant it, even if I didn't realize I meant it until the words were out. I saw Michael yesterday. He came to my parents' house, knocked on the door quietly, asked if we could talk. We sat on the porch, far apart, both of us uncomfortable. I'm sorry, he said. I'm sorry I confirmed what James suspected. I'm sorry I didn't lie to protect you. I couldn't lie to him, not on his wedding night. I understand, I said. And I did. It wasn't Michael's fault. For what it's worth, he continued, I never encouraged anything. I never wanted to come between you two. If I noticed you were interested, I tried to create distance. I tried to make sure nothing inappropriate ever happened. I know, you did nothing wrong. Neither did you, Michael said. Not really. You can't help what you feel. I can help what I say, I countered. I can help making jokes about it at my own wedding. He didn't argue. James won't talk to me, Michael said. He's avoiding my calls. I think he blames me almost as much as he blames you. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair, Michael said, but it is what it is. We sat in silence for a moment. Did you ever think about it? I asked. About us? About what if? He looked at me for a long moment. Yeah, sometimes. But I would never have acted on it. You were with my brother. That line can never be crossed. I know. And honestly, he smiled sadly, I think you built me up in your head, made me into something I'm not. If we'd actually gotten together, you probably would have been disappointed. I'm not as great as you think I am. Maybe he was right. Maybe I'd romanticized Michael the same way I'd romanticized the idea of a more exciting relationship. Maybe the reality would have been completely different from the fantasy, but I'd never know now. I should go, Michael said. I just wanted to check on you, make sure you were okay. I'm not okay, I said honestly, but I will be, eventually. He nodded, started to leave, then turned back. He really loved you, you know. James, he was all in. If this hadn't happened, he would have been the best husband, the most devoted partner. He would have done anything for you. I know, I whispered, and you loved him too. I could see it. This isn't a case of you marrying someone you didn't care about. You just couldn't let go of something else. And it cost you everything. Then he left, and I sat on the porch alone, watching the sunset, thinking about what I'd lost. Tomorrow I'm signing the annulment papers. My lawyer, I had to hire my own lawyer, says fighting it would be pointless. The marriage was consummated before the marriage certificate was even filed. In the eyes of the law, we were barely married at all. An annulment is appropriate, so tomorrow my marriage will officially never have existed. All that's left is a wedding dress I'll never wear again, photos I can't look at, and memories of the worst night of my life. People keep asking me if I regret the joke. Of course I regret it. I regret it more than I've ever regretted anything. But the joke wasn't the real problem. The real problem was that it revealed the truth. That I'd entered my marriage with unresolved feelings for someone else. That I'd compared my husband to his brother. That I couldn't fully commit because part of me was still wondering, what if? You can't build a marriage on a foundation like that. James saw that immediately, saw that the joke was just a symptom of a deeper issue, saw that I wasn't fully his, and never would be. And he was strong enough to walk away, to refuse to spend his life competing with his own brother for his wife's affection, to choose himself over a relationship that was already compromised. I wish I could say I've learnt my lesson, that I'll never compare partners again, that I'll be fully present in my next relationship. But honestly, I don't know if I've learned anything except that words matter, that jokes reveal truth, that you can destroy everything in a single moment of thoughtlessness, and that some mistakes can't be forgiven. Some mistakes end marriages before they even begin.